Most adults over 60 ignore the early signs of weather sensitivity until their joints, heart, or immune system can no longer compensate. You have likely noticed that a sudden drop in temperature or a spike in humidity feels different now than it did 20 years ago. It is not just your imagination. It is a fundamental shift in how your internal thermostat and inflammatory markers react to the external environment. When the barometric pressure shifts, your body is engaged in a complex, invisible struggle to maintain equilibrium. For many, this adjustment is seamless. However, as we cross the threshold into our 60s, the biological machinery responsible for this adaptation begins to show wear. We are talking about the loss of vasomotor flexibility and the slowing of metabolic responses to thermal stress. Why does this matter? Because ignoring these subtle signals often masks deeper underlying vulnerabilities, from circulatory inefficiency to latent joint inflammation. Today, we are going to peel back the layers of how your body perceives environmental changes and, more importantly, why your ability to regulate these shifts is a primary indicator of your overall longevity. We will examine the science of baroreceptors, the role of autonomic nervous system resilience, and the practical steps you can take to reinforce your physiological defenses. By the end of this journey, you will understand exactly why that ache in your knee or that fatigue during a cold snap is more than just a passing discomfort. It is a biological call to action. Let's begin by looking at the mechanism that most people completely overlook: the transition phase. The human body is essentially a biological engine designed to maintain a stable internal temperature of approximately 98.6 degrees Fahrenheit, regardless of the weather outside. This process, known as thermoregulation, relies on an intricate network of sensors in your skin and deep within your brain. In your 30s, this system operates with a high degree of precision. By 60, the sensitivity of these sensors starts to decline. Imagine a thermostat in a house that becomes less accurate as it ages. It waits until the room is either freezing or boiling before it triggers the heating or cooling system. This delay is exactly what happens in the aging human body. When you encounter a sudden shift in weather, your autonomic nervous system, the part of your body that controls unconscious functions like heart rate and blood flow, needs to communicate instantly with your blood vessels. It tells them to constrict or dilate to preserve heat or release it. As we age, the lining of these vessels, called the endothelium, becomes less responsive. This is not necessarily a disease. It is a physiological progression, but the consequence is a lag time in adaptation. During this lag, your heart works harder, your blood pressure fluctuates more wildly, and your inflammatory cells become more active. The question is, how does this process manifest in your daily life before it becomes a clinical issue? Many people mistake the onset of this inefficiency for simple tiredness or age-related slowing down. They attribute it to a lack of sleep or a busy day, when in reality, their body is struggling to process the shift in barometric pressure. The real concern isn't just the discomfort, it's the hidden stress this places on your organs. Let's talk about barometric pressure. This is the weight of the atmosphere pressing down on your body. When a storm front approaches, the barometric pressure drops. In a healthy, young body, the tissues and fluids inside your joints and muscles are perfectly balanced with this external pressure. However, as you age, the elasticity of the tissues surrounding your joints, the tendons, the cartilage, and the synovial fluid, changes. When external pressure drops, these internal tissues can expand slightly. In a normal joint, this is negligible. But if you have even microscopic levels of wear and tear, or low-grade systemic inflammation, this expansion puts pressure on nerve endings. This is why many people can literally feel a storm coming in their knees or lower back. But it's not just about pain. This phenomenon reveals something deeper: the integrity of your connective tissue. If you are experiencing this frequently, it is a signal that your body's structural envelope is losing its ability to buffer external changes. The scientific community has long studied this, and we now know that chronic weather sensitivity is often linked to the body's inability to manage its internal fluid homeostasis. Now, you might be asking, is this a permanent decline? The answer is both yes and no. While you cannot stop the clock, you can absolutely improve the resilience of your vascular and connective systems. The secret lies in how you support your body during these transitions. But first, we need to address the group of individuals who are at the highest risk for severe weather-related physiological stress. You need to know if you fall into this category, as the precautions you must take are significantly more robust than those for the general population. Who is truly at risk? If you have pre-existing cardiovascular conditions, diabetes, or chronic respiratory issues, your body's margin for error during weather changes is much thinner. For someone with healthy heart function, a sudden drop in temperature causes a temporary, manageable increase in blood pressure. For someone whose arteries have lost some of their youthful flexibility, this same temperature drop can trigger a more significant spike in blood pressure. This is why emergency room visits for heart-related events often see a spike during extreme weather shifts. The body is essentially revving its engine to stay warm, and if the engine isn't in peak condition, it experiences undue wear. Furthermore, those who lead sedentary lifestyles are at a distinct disadvantage. Movement is not just about muscle strength. It is about the pump system. When you walk, move, or exercise, you are manually assisting your circulatory system in its effort to distribute heat and regulate fluid. A sedentary lifestyle essentially takes away one of the body's most effective tools for thermal adaptation. There is also the matter of hydration. Many people over 60 experience a diminished sensation of thirst. When the weather shifts, especially if it becomes drier or hotter, your body's fluid balance is the first line of defense against thermal stress. If you are already mildly dehydrated, your blood becomes slightly more viscous, thicker, which makes it harder for your heart to pump it through those slightly stiffer vessels we discussed. It is a domino effect. The risk here is cumulative. It doesn't happen in a single day, but over weeks and months of these small stresses, the body begins to manifest larger health issues. Are you noticing that your energy levels plummet during weather changes? This might be the most common, yet most ignored, symptom of all. Energy fluctuations are rarely just about food or sleep. If you find yourself feeling unusually drained, foggy, or heavy when the weather changes, you are experiencing the cost of biological compensation. Your brain is essentially diverting energy away from your muscles and cognitive functions to maintain core temperature and systemic balance. Think of it as a computer running a heavy background process that slows down the user interface. Your user interface is your daily performance. So, what can you actually do to bolster your resilience? It starts with the concept of microconditioning. This is the practice of exposing your body to minor, controlled changes in temperature. For instance, cold water exposure on your hands and feet, or simply spending time in varying temperatures rather than keeping your home at a constant, stagnant 72 degrees. This helps train your autonomic nervous system to stay reactive rather than becoming dormant. However, we must be careful. This is not about extreme cold plunges. It is about gentle, consistent environmental challenges. Alongside this, your nutritional choices play a massive role in how your vascular system handles stress. Certain nutrients are essential for maintaining the elasticity of your blood vessels. We are looking at nitric oxide precursors and specific antioxidants that protect the endothelium. But there is a common mistake people make here. They think that taking a simple supplement will solve the issue. It doesn't work that way. The strategy must be holistic. Let's look at the specific nutritional pillars that provide the foundation for this systemic resilience, and then we will discuss the one habit that most people fail to adopt, which could be the difference between a rough winter and a smooth one. When we talk about nutrition for weather resilience, we are not talking about expensive superfoods. We are talking about foundational biology. Your blood vessels need certain building blocks to stay flexible. Omega-3 fatty acids, found in fatty fish, walnuts, and flax seeds, are crucial for reducing systemic inflammation. When inflammation is low, your body is better equipped to handle the internal stress of a cold snap or a heat wave. Furthermore, magnesium is an unsung hero here. Magnesium helps in the relaxation of smooth muscles, including those in your blood vessels. When your blood vessels can relax properly, they can dilate and constrict with ease, which is exactly what you need to regulate temperature. But here is the nuance. Most people don't consume enough magnesium-rich foods like leafy greens, almonds, and legumes. As we age, our gut absorption efficiency also drops. This means you might need to be more intentional about your diet than you were in your 40s. The most common error? Relying on processed foods that are high in sodium. Excess sodium increases fluid retention and raises blood pressure, which forces your cardiovascular system to work significantly harder during weather transitions. If you notice you feel swollen or stiff when the weather changes, your sodium to magnesium ratio is likely the culprit. This leads us to the most critical physical habit for seniors. Controlled movement. Not just walking, but movement that involves rhythmic breathing and core engagement. This movement serves as a manual boost to your vascular system. Are you keeping track of your body's specific weather patterns? Keeping a simple diary for just 2 weeks can change everything. You will start to see the correlation between humidity, pressure, and your physical comfort levels. Let's address a major misconception: the idea that we should simply stay inside when the weather is challenging. While staying warm or cool is important, complete withdrawal from the environment actually makes your body more fragile. Your body needs to be reminded how to adapt. If you stay in a perfectly climate-controlled box for 3 months, your body will lose its ability to handle even a 5-degree temperature shift. This is known as deconditioning. Instead of avoiding the weather, learn to layer appropriately and engage in movement that generates internal heat. Think of it like physical therapy for your thermostat. When you go for a walk in cooler air, you're triggering the body's natural heat production mechanisms. You're training your vessels to be active. However, you must listen to your body. There is a fine line between training your body and overstressing it. If you have chronic conditions, this needs to be discussed with your physician. But for most, the key is consistency. Now, there is another layer to this: the mental aspect. When you feel physically stressed by the weather, your cortisol levels, the stress hormone, can rise. High cortisol is a known vasoconstrictor, meaning it tightens your blood vessels. This creates a vicious cycle. The weather stresses you, your stress level rises, your vessels tighten, and you feel even more pain or fatigue. Managing your internal state is as important as managing your physical environment. Simple, deep breathing exercises can actually signal your nervous system to stand down and stay in a relaxed, adaptive state rather than a high alert, defensive state. This is how you stay in control of your biology. Many of you might be wondering, when is this just weather sensitivity, and when is it a sign of a deeper medical problem? This is the most crucial question of our discussion. If your response to weather changes includes sharp, localized pain that doesn't subside with rest, or if you experience significant shortness of breath, heart palpitations, or dizziness, these are not just weather-related aches. These are red flags. Your body is telling you that its ability to compensate is failing. If these symptoms occur, it is essential to consult a healthcare professional. You don't need to fear the doctor. You need to leverage their expertise to check your baseline. A simple heart rate variability test or an assessment of your blood pressure regulation can tell a physician a great deal about how well your autonomic nervous system is functioning. Do not wait for a full-blown event to understand your health. Preventive screenings are the best tool you have. Many seniors think that a bad day during a weather change is just part of aging. But what if it's an early warning sign of circulatory inefficiency that could be managed with lifestyle changes or minor medical adjustments? The proactive approach is what separates those who thrive in their later years from those who simply endure. You deserve to live with comfort, regardless of what the thermometer says outside. But there is another factor that often goes unmentioned: the quality of your sleep during these transition periods. Sleep is when your body does its most significant repair work. During sleep, your body has the opportunity to recalibrate. If the weather is fluctuating, your body is under higher maintenance load. If your sleep quality is poor, your body enters the next day already depleted, making it even harder to adapt to the external environment. This is why many people find that one bad night of sleep makes them feel the weather more acutely the next day. To improve your sleep during these times, focus on sleep hygiene. Keep your bedroom at a temperature that supports deep rest. Use weighted blankets if they help you feel secure and comfortable, as they can also help regulate your sense of physical pressure. Avoid heavy meals late in the evening, as digestion increases your body temperature, which can interfere with the natural cooling process required for deep sleep. When your body is well rested, its resilience is naturally higher. It's like having a full battery. You can handle more demands. When you're exhausted, even a small shift in barometric pressure can feel like a heavy burden. Now, let's look at the long-term perspective. If you are 60, 70, or 80, your goal isn't to be 20 again. Your goal is to maximize the efficiency of the body you have now. This is a journey of refinement, not a pursuit of an impossible ideal. You're learning to partner with your biology. We have discussed the mechanisms of the autonomic nervous system, the importance of vascular flexibility, the role of nutrition, and the dangers of deconditioning. You now understand that weather sensitivity is not just a nuisance. It is a diagnostic tool that tells you how well your body is managing its internal environment. The next steps for you are simple, yet transformative. First, track your symptoms. Don't just suffer through them. Document them. Is it pressure changes or temperature drops that affect you most? Are there specific times of day when you feel most vulnerable? Second, focus on your movement. If you're not moving daily, start with 10 minutes of gentle walking. It is the most effective way to stimulate your vascular health. Third, look at your nutrition. Are you getting enough hydration and magnesium? Are you mindful of your sodium intake? These are small levers, but they move heavy weights in terms of your overall health. Finally, talk to your doctor with specific observations. Instead of saying, "I feel bad," say, "I notice that when the pressure drops, my blood pressure spikes, and I feel fatigued." This gives your physician actionable data to help you. You're the manager of your health. Your body is a remarkable system that has carried you for decades. With a little bit of care and understanding, it can continue to adapt and serve you well for many more years to come. As we wrap up this exploration, remember that every system in your body is connected. Your skin, your heart, your brain, and your joints are all dancing to the same rhythm. When the music changes, when the weather turns, it is up to you to help your body find the new rhythm. You have more influence over this than you might think. Many of the limitations we associate with aging are actually limitations of a lack of usage and maintenance. By taking these steps, you are not just fighting the weather. You are actively investing in the longevity of your cardiovascular and nervous systems. This is the definition of proactive aging. Take pride in the fact that you are taking the time to learn these mechanisms. It shows that you are committed to your well-being, and remember, health is not a destination. It is a constant process of adaptation. You are the architect of that process. There is a sense of empowerment that comes with understanding how your body works. Once you lose the fear of those bad weather days and replace it with a strategy for adaptation, your quality of life will noticeably improve. You are not at the mercy of the elements. You are a resilient human being capable of adjusting and thriving in any condition. Finally, let's leave you with a thought for the week ahead. Observe your body. When the next weather change approaches, notice the first sensation. Is it a tightness in your neck? A feeling of fatigue in your legs? A change in your mood? That is your signal. That is your internal early warning system. Don't ignore it, and don't panic. Simply acknowledge it, adjust your plan for the day, hydrate, move gently, and give your body the grace it needs to adapt. You have the knowledge now to manage these shifts with confidence and care. Keep this information, share it with those who might find it helpful, and remember that your body is constantly striving for balance. Your job is simply to give it the resources and the environment it needs to succeed. Thank you for joining me in this deep dive into human physiology. We have only scratched the surface of what your body is capable of. Stay tuned for our next session, where we will explore the secret to maintaining metabolic health as you age, and how your daily habits can drastically change your cellular age. Take care, stay observant, and continue to prioritize your health. You're doing the right thing for your future self.